our parents' approval for us to do something. Then that goes into school, and we do the same thing with the teachers. And then we all of a sudden then start looking at our peers around us and doing the exact same thing. And unfortunately, it carries on to adulthood. I was the same, very much so, until till about 5 years ago, when my mum suddenly passed away. And I'd always seeked validation of my parents, my family, peers, and it was like in my mum's death that I looked at my mum and the stuff that she told herself, for instance, that she wasn't loved. And I didn't know this to the extent until she passed away, and I was clearing her house and I found all the things that she'd written and stuff like that. And I was like, wow. But then when I looked at, looking at my mum's funeral, so my mum was a practicing white witch, and she was the black sheep of the family as such. And she asked me to make sure that she had a pagan funeral. And I was like, okay. And she was being buried with my younger brother. And so she knew that by me doing what I needed to do, I'd also be blessing my brother as well. And it was really, really, really hard at first, because my family is very, they're very Christian. And as I say, there was only me, my mum and my brother that was stuck out from the rest of them. And I just thought, how is this going to go down? How is this going to go down? And I was then sort of, at first, I started seeking validation. And it was like my mum was saying, this is my funeral and I want it this way. And this is what I've asked you to do. So do it. So I did it. And it was, like I say, finding out that my mum believed that she didn't, she wasn't loved. And then seeing the entourage of my mum's funeral, we actually closed off 3 mining villages around us with the entourage of mum's funeral. So that validation from mum that she'd always seeked, because we do follow what other people show us as we're growing up. So for me, I'd copied my mom and she'd copied her mom and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, hold on, she didn't think she was loved, yet we've closed off 3 mining villages. So all that BS, let's put it in that way, that she was telling herself was actually that. It wasn't true. So it made me look at my life and think, right, okay, so have I been telling myself that? Yes, I have. And when we feel that we don't feel loved, we seek validation of other people. And I started doing that with my mum's funeral. And then I went, no, I'm going to do exactly what my mum asked me to do. And the amount of people that came up to me, because I was really worried about what the family was how they were going to respond to it. The amount of people that came up to me just saying, oh my God, that I've never been to something like this before. And that was beautiful. And you really, I shone my mum in a different light than everybody thought, if that makes sense. And the funeral director actually came up to me and he was like, I've been doing this 20 years. And you can imagine it's a very boring, very negative job to do. And that was the most beautiful thing I've ever attended. And then actually asked me if he ever has any other inquiries, would I be open to doing another ceremony like that? So that was a massive turning point for me, because I'd been seeking all this validation all through my life. Then in my mum's passing, seeking other people's validation to do something that she wanted me to do. And in the end, I didn't need anybody's validation, only my own. And actually having that confidence and that understanding that I have got that power within myself to make it happen. And I did. So it was a huge turning point for me, to be honest. So yeah, that's where I stand on it. Get that power inside of you, because we've all got it. Unfortunately, it gets squashed by society.
It does, right? And like you said, it comes from the very start as well, from our parents. And a lot of children, unfortunately, still go through that phase of, oh, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be this, you have to be that. And it bothers me that you have to, right? You have to, or I should, or they're very, I'm going to put it between quotations, negative wordings that we use and terms to manipulate people, obviously, in a very unintentional and very, like, nice, meaningful way, but we don't know, like people don't realize how much it really impacts us. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does, seeking validation. I grew up not seek. My parents made it very clear to me from a very young age that I don't need to seek validation to anyone. So I was raised by two men, and normally men, they speak the truth. You know, my dad and my stepdad, they'll always make sure that I understand what it means to be my own person and to understand my values and my beliefs. But although I didn't believe in validation from other people, when I got older, when I became my own person, an adult, I started following people. So, but from a very young age, I knew that I didn't have to seek validation from anyone. I didn't need to. People didn't have to affirm who I could be. I wouldn't fit in because for me, I was a girl that would just hang around climbing trees, sports, hanging out. I wasn't like a girl, but the only difference is I just love wearing beautiful dresses. Think that's what represented me as a girl. But when it comes to my personality, I just spend time getting in the mud and playing football, doing the things, outdoors things, and while everyone else get dressed, the girls will get dressed and they'll be standing on outside for the boys to look at them. Me, I'll be hanging out with them and just asking questions but men are fun to hang out with, and they speak the truth. That's why I think the first time when I had a girlfriend, I think I was in my 20s. I think I was 25 or 27 when I started actually having girlfriends. Because I didn't like any drama. I didn't like when I want to do something, I have to tell my girlfriends. If I don't tell them, they get all emotional. I don't have that time for that. I just like to get on with things. That's my personality. That is my character. But when I actually started hanging out with women, that's when and when I started actually having serious relationship, I would seek validation from my spouse and seek validation from my friends. I'd forgotten my actually personality. You know, people changed. But it was temporal. I'm glad that it was temporal. Now I've gone back to my actually normal self. When you try to fit in, sometimes you see girls, how they speak, or maybe men, how they speak. You want to fit in with them, and you actually dress up and you want a man to touch you and tell you how beautiful you are. And if they don't do that, you get upset. He doesn't love me. Why is he not telling me that I'm beautiful? So all those things. But now when I look back and I think about it, I just laugh about it, that why would I want somebody else to actually, because the beauty comes from within. In order for a man that I'm dating to tell me how beautiful I am, I have to believe it myself first so I can receive it gracefully. Even if it comes in a good place and tells me how beautiful I am. But if I don't believe it myself, I'm not going to feel it and I'm not going to believe it. So those are the things that I've learned the hard way, that I don't need people to affirm who I am, what I can do. All I just need is learn the skills. Just get some advice on how I can learn the skills, if I need to learn the skills, or if I just want to come out and say, come out, listen, or Angie, teach me how you do this. How did you learn this? Please teach me your knowledge. That's all I need, just to not validation. There's a difference between seeking skills and seeking validation. So over to you, Kamal or Angie. And also, hi, family, LinkedIn family. And I know you guys are watching, and the YouTube family, Facebook, Twitter. Please just join into conversation with us. We'd love to hear from you. Go ahead, Angie.
What was the question? Sorry, I missed that.
She didn't ask anything. She just wanted you to take over.
Ah, right. Okay. I was going to say, because now she's talking and she's on mute. So I was like, eh. So, yeah, you know, going like that validation thing. Yeah, I sort of resonate with that as well, Nomsa. I was the only girl of 4. And my biological father was a boxer. So, yes, I used to get the rough and tumble with all the lads and go playing outs, which is hide and seek outside, in a sense. Yes, up and down trees and all that. So I was exactly the same. And it wasn't until probably when I left school, actually, and I got my first job as a hairdresser, which everybody was like, you, a hairdresser, that's very girly. But yeah, I decided to get a job as a hairdresser, and it was like straight away, because I had natural long blonde hair right down my back. You can't have that. And I was like, what? I was never allowed to cut my hair. In fact, my mum's not around anymore, so I can say it. I actually put, sorry, before she starts, I used to put bubble gum in my hair. And so I'd have to have it cut. Anything, because my mum was like, no. And my dad was even worse. You know, young girls had to have long hair. So one day I went into work and they was like, no, you can't have the long blonde hair. You can't have the natural hair. And I went home with very short hair and bright red. So you can imagine, but that's how I had to fit in with the hairdressing world. So you can imagine that caused quite a lot of conflict at home, because then I wasn't their little girl anymore. But yeah, I didn't seek validation until I left school, really. But then, yeah, I found myself seeking it from other people because I'd been told that the way that I'd been wasn't the right way to be. And it's like with my daughter now, I'm always talking to her. She's nearly 18, and I'm always saying to her, you don't need anybody else's validation. It's the belief, like you said, Nomsa, it's that belief in yourself. Unfortunately, as we grow up, that gets stripped by certain people as we're growing up. And it takes some time getting that back. It's took me, with all the work that I did since 2014 to actually get that back now. And I know that my true values, what I want to stand for in life, and I know the power that I've got within myself, which I'm so grateful for, because now I get to teach my daughter to own that and, do that herself. And she said something to me the other day, and I just said, why do you think you need that? And she, it was about validation of somebody else. And she was like, well, is it because I'm this, da, 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 da? And I was like, that's somebody else's opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. Doesn't mean that that person's opinion is right. But if you feel like that inside, where does that come from? Because that's not come from me or your dad or yourself. That's come from somebody else. So we had to sit there and do some work with that, for her. But yeah, for me, it's doing that in the work and finding out who you are and what you stand for. And then you can have that confidence and that ease to actually live your true life yourself. I think that was my little.
I mean, I think you are right. And even though we don't seek it later on, like consciously, even in our teenage and at school, we go for these things just to be included, right? In bands, in groups, in gangs, or whatever they're called nowadays. Or the little group of friends that you have together, and it's almost like a rite of passage, right? And it's still part of the learning process that we all have to go through. And some kids, they just don't, and they feel secluded. They are alone. They're maybe considered nerds, geeks. They're always on their own. Funny enough, the majority of those alone kids are the ones that succeed, right? Because they are themselves. And they're not looking for anything else. And then obviously when you go to university or you start work or whatever it is that you do in your life, that's when it becomes really impactful, because now you're a part of a contributing society, a person that pays your unfortunate taxes and works. Yes, I say controversial stuff. I'm against taxes. Yes. And there's something that I wanted to add on to what you were saying about this validation is that the clients that come to me, or when I'm training people, even in the corporate world, as soon as I meet them, I tell them one very important phrase. I say, I will say stuff that might be offensive, that you might hear and think it's offensive. If you get offended, I don't care. It's your problem. Because I'm going to say it anyway. And it's my right to give my opinion and to say whatever I want to say the way that I want to say it. I know myself that it's not being rude, that I'm not offending anybody specifically. It's just a general thing. But if you get offended by it, that's on you. So this comes to the fact of being included, accepting society, being part of the ritual of society and others and people. And you're either part of the herd, or you're the black sheep, or you're outside of that herd, right? And I couldn't care less. I like being the black sheep. I like being an outsider. I tell my children, they come to me and they ask me, and they're 4 and 6, no, sorry, they're 6 and 8 now. Good God, they're still babies in my head. And they come to me and they ask, why are people doing this? Why is it that way here? Why is it that way there in this country? Or why do you tell us this? Or why do these people say that? But look, everybody will say something. Everybody will want you to hear what they have to say so that you take their side. I don't want you to take my side. I want you to decide what you think is best for you. If you decide one day to say, I don't love you, well, that's fine. I'll still love you, but that's your right. If you decide to play games with me, I will gladly play games with you. If you want to play chess, if you want to go out, I'll do it. If you don't want to, that's fine by me as well. The most important thing is that you do things that make you comfortable, that make you joyful, that make you feel a sense of pride in what you are doing for yourself. Speaking of pride about oneself is what we are doing right here, is talking to people so that they feel that their life is complete as it is. And now this comes into play with that validation that everybody is looking for. Oh, please accept me. Please tell me that I'm good. No, I don't want you to tell me what I'm good at. I want you to tell me what I'm bad at so that I can improve that for myself. So yeah, that's my part on it. It's a lovely subject. So
I love that, Kamal, because we live in a society where everyone wants to is trying really hard to be a follower, and when you go to church, everyone tells you this is the behavior that you should behave. You go to our community, everyone is behaving, trying to fit in with everybody else, but we are different, we are unique. And the sooner people realize that we are not all born the same, we are unique, we are different, what you tell your children is the truth. Everybody has their own personality, everyone has their own choices. You can choose who you want to be. And like if I go to church, for me, I go to the scripture. If you tell me, you preach to me and telling me about the scripture, I'm listening. But if you tell me that God is this, God is this, and then I have to go and reference everything that you speak as a preacher to the Bible. And then I do what I think is right. Like myself, I used to, if you go and look at my pictures on Facebook, I used to, when I dress, I used to show off my boobies because, you know, when you watch the celebrities, how they dress, the boobies out, you basically, when you show your body, it's like when you wear mini dress and showing the whole legs, like I go to the gym and making sure my legs are out. I'm like, this is going to get me a man. And then until I realized I got exhausted, I realized I was like, Actually, that's not what men are looking for. Men are looking for what's on the inside of me, because they believe that what's on the inside of a woman is greater than what's on the outside. Honestly, it was exhausting. Like going shopping with the girls, and they'll be like, "This one will look good. You get a man, girl." I'm like, seriously? A clothes can get me a man? And I had to check myself out. I don't know about you, Angie. Honestly, I had to check me out. I had to say, no, I don't think this is this is the life that I should be living. Honestly, I still wear sexy clothes. I still look good when I go out, but I've created my own image that is unique. I do not go, when I see a celebrity in the magazine or I see anyone on Facebook, they're dressed up nicely. My job is to admire that person. Now I know that I need to admire them. I need to celebrate them, but I don't need to dress like them. So those are the things that I really, really have learned the hard way, that I need to find my own character. I need to actually not letting people affirm who I could be and what I can't. I need to pray about it, meditate, find that special person within me, within myself. And I always tell my children, by their doors, there's no written that you cannot be a follower. You can choose your own path. When it comes to life, choose your own path. Know that you are different. Be the changer in your bloodline. That's why it says on their door, not being a follower. So if anyone who is watching, it is beautiful when you actually realize that when it comes to people in our community, in our society, no one will ever agree to anyone. So if no one ever agrees with anyone, which means it's important for you to create your own image, it's important for you to know your purpose, not go and find it. Know your purpose. That purpose, you'll find it within. And know who you are and the things that you can't. When my father and my stepdaddy died, they both passed away, and my family find it really, really hard to connect with me, because they were trying to be my dad and trying to be my stepdad. And I was like, that's not how you need to treat me. Treat me like I'm close to my family, but I had to send a message that, listen, the relationship that I had with my stepdad, no one will ever replace that. The relationship I had with my dad, no one will ever replace that. So when you're comforting me, comfort me as somebody who just let me be, help me to grieve in my own way, not to tell me that you're going to make things better for me. And you are, as a father, although you are my stepdaddy's brother or sister, you cannot replace, because my relationship with everybody is individual. So I had to send a message to people that I love you the way you guys are, but you can't take like as you guys, no one can replace you. So it's same like no one can replace this person. So you've got to understand, it's like when I go to church, when a preacher preaches good message, I'm good to go. I'm good to say amen. I'm connecting with you. I go crazy. I'm allowed to go crazy. Even in my church, people are going crazy because they see that I don't really, I don't mind saying amen. And like if I was struggling with shames and guilty before, I'm not afraid to say, you know what, I've broken free from the shame that I had before, the shames of I'm not enough, the shames of the chains of being a follower, the chains like when I'm trying to get validation of like saying, oh, I am who I am because of who wasn't there for me. So those were the shame, seeking validation. You start a business. It's your dream. I don't know, Angie and Kamau, you know, when we started our businesses, like myself, when I started my business from the beginning, I already got into psychology. So when people were talking me out of it, I was getting myself in it. I had to realize that, you know what? These people are not in it, so I can't get angry with them. I just have to keep blessing them with my heart and be in it myself, because this is my dream. So some people, they will get angry with their families. Why are they not supporting me? Why are they not understanding me? Why can't they understand this is my dream? Yes, they can't. They can't understand it. Or your dream can only be understood by you. And guess what? When you succeed, what happens? Oh, I believed in you. And I'm like, crap, you didn't. Oh, yes, when you succeed, they're like, I always believed in you. And you're like, crap, you didn't. I don't know with you guys. I don't know, Angie will come out, whoever wants to take over.
I can resonate massively with that one. Absolutely. First and foremost, I want to mention what Kamal said, and it was a brilliant point about if you say something and somebody else gets upset, that's on them, not you.
Yeah.
I had this discussion with my daughter the other day. And I said, right, okay. She says, well, where'd you get? I says, right. So if I turn around and called you X, Y, and Z, how would you feel? And she was like, well, it's not true. Right. So if I said da da da, which I knew would trigger her face went. And I went, so where does that come from? And she looked at me, she went, I says, that's because of how you feel inside. And she was like, I says, I haven't said anything. Really, it's how you feel. If I said X, Y, and Z, and that's not your truth, then you'll bounce it off. So if somebody says something to offend you, before you retaliate, you need to sit there and go, where does that come from? Before you retaliate, because that has been a huge lesson for me. So I'm glad Kamal mentioned that. Well, yeah, going on what you said, Nonsa. Oh my days. I totally resonate. I was sitting here just thinking, oh my life, she's speaking to me and speaking, we do that validation thing is an absolute, I was told, a bit about being a sheep, follow the herd, blah, 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 blah. And I was to a certain point. And I remember when I first started my path of self-discovery and recovery, and I remember certain people in my life were going, what is this nonsense that you're listening to? What is that crap? In fact, what is that brainwashing shite you're listening to? Obviously, it was a lot stronger than that. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, that's brainwashing. Are you in a cult? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. And somebody warned me that this would happen. And I was like, here it comes. I had so many people walk away. It was incredible. And the person that turned around to me and said, what is this brainwashing crap, was my mum. And I turned around and went, okay, interesting. And she was like, what? And I was like, you watch the news and everything else and read the papers and get into your, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Politics world, because my mum was all about politics. I said, you get in there and we'll see how far you go and we'll see how far I go. 6 months before she passed away, she went, I think it's about time I started listening to that stuff that you listen to. I was like, oh, go figure. And another person that said it to me, now it makes me laugh because she actually started her path of self-discovery and recovery probably about 2.5 years ago. And she says, I remember that day I sat in your car and I said to you, what is this crap you're listening to? She says, and now you've got me into it. And I was like, yeah, but whatever. And she did say to me, she says, it's very interesting that the stuff that you listen to, how controversial it is to the stuff that we're taught from very young age. And it's totally out the box. And it's really starting to help her change her mindset. And she's also at that thing now that she don't give a flying what's it about what anybody else thinks. This is what she wants to do, and this is how she's going to do it. And if somebody don't like it, then bye then. And I think personally, by getting rid of the baggage, I'm going to call it baggage, of those people that think that you need to be like them, once you get rid of that baggage, oh my days, your wings will start flying. They'll open and you'll start flying. And it's amazing when you soar above other people. And I don't mean in a nasty sense, like I'm better than you. I mean, you own your wings, you own your power, and you can rise above and just go, interesting. Because there is that, you know, of people wanting. I heard a story in a CD, and it was about crabs and humans, that they're actually the same. And apart from crabs, you know, we live on land and crabs live in the water as well. But the fact is, what was it? It was about putting crab food into a basket, the crabs get in. If a crab tries to get out, the crabs will pull it back in. If the crab goes again, they'll pull it back in. If the crab, they'll actually kill the crab eventually if it don't stop trying to get out. And we don't kill people. Well, some people do, but not in that. But what people do is they pull you down, pull you back into the net. Because what happens is when you start owning your truth, yourself, and notice that in a light, you shine a light on other people's failures. And that's why they get upset. And that was really interesting for me, because people want to be, you know, that light loved, and they want you in the herd. So if that's where somebody is and they're wanting to try and get out of there, do it and find somebody to help you do it, because it's amazing. Anyway, I'll stop rambling.
No, but I love that story about the crabs, and it reminded me of there's a psychological syndrome. It's called the tall poppy syndrome, if you've heard of it. And that's exactly what you're explaining, is certain societies, certain cultures, they want to be, everybody is the same. As soon as you start shining above everybody, they cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, once you shine outside of that society starts to say, oh, he's part of us, and she's part of us, and all of that rubbish. But it is it's called the tall poppy syndrome. And this is something that is prevalent in Scandinavian countries as well. They live on a sort of motto, or like an old book that was written, I can't remember when, or even the writer's name for some reason, probably because I disliked it. They have unwritten rules. The newer generation are going out of these unwritten rules, more or less, which is very good. But the older generation, our generation, and the older generation, they live almost by these creeds, and they're called the janteloven, or jente laws. And some of these laws, they are for society itself and for outsiders, but they're very, it will explain this tall poppy syndrome. So a few of those lines say, for instance, don't believe yourself better than us. Don't believe that you can teach us anything, right? And the list goes. I think there are 10 rules like that. Now, from a perspective of humbleness, that's excellent. And from a perspective of that, how harsh it is, the words are telling people in society, don't be better than anybody else. It's a subliminal message to tell people, be the same as everyone else. Don't be different. And that's sad, because then you don't grow and you don't understand yourself. Exactly the same stories that we've been talking about for the past 45 minutes, right? You get to grow and do something that is interesting for you, and then the people come and that's rubbish, and then a couple of years later they come back to you and they say, oh my God, can you help me with this? Aren't you doing that? Yes, I do, but no. And what's curious, as you were mentioning, Angie, is the herd, how it thins out once you start developing yourself, once you start looking deeply into your soul and understanding that this validation can only come from within you. You're the one that decides how well you're going to dress. And even if you dress with showing whatever you want to show, you look yourself in the mirror. I love to dress up. And when I dress up, I look myself in the mirror. Ooh, you look good. But for myself, right? It's not because I'm going to go out and find a girl or whatever. No, I'm just looking good for myself. I put on cologne because I want to smell nice. I want to smell myself in a nice way. I dress up because I like certain colors. But we do it for ourselves now. And before, it was very, very particular about, oh, no, the shirt has to be this way, and this has to go that way, because, oh, if they see me this, then they'll see that this is well done and I'm organized, and everything has reasons, right? And these validations, they start to disappear from our life once we realize that what will others' validation get us? And what if we don't get that validation? Because sometimes no matter what you do in life, you never get that validation that you're seeking from that person. And it's almost as if you're on the edge of a noose with your neck there, and you're on your tiptoes and always waiting for that person to come and save you by just saying, oh, you've done an amazing job, or you're great, oh, this looks wonderful on you. But they never tell you that. And you're constantly there on your toes. And that is it's a horrendous feeling. It's a killing feeling. It kills you from within. And so I'm going to quote for validation today Confucius, because I think that that quote is, to me, it's important. I love Asian literature, and I mean the Asian world and culture. Bushido, the way of the samurai. There is Confucius, I know he's Chinese though, he said, what the superior man seeks is within. What the lower man seeks, or the small man seeks, is in others. Now, M with a big M, right? So that nobody gets offended. Now, you can learn from it whatever you want to learn, because it's a metaphor, it's a quote. Everybody will understand it the way that they want to understand it. The way that I understand it is that when you are good enough for yourself, when you understand that you are who you are, with your uniqueness, with your traits, with your qualities, with your defects, with your skills, with your talents, with your passions, and you seek more information from your behaviors, from your attitudes within you by analyzing yourself, you become even more superior to the person that you were before. And if you are a person that is looking for everything that you feel is missing in you outside, these are things that you will never reach because they don't belong to you. So that is my explanation to the quote.
Yeah, that is so true. You'll never reach your destination if you are somebody who needs people to validate who you are. You have to get along with you first. Like what Kamal is saying, everything is within. Get along with you. Once you get along with you, just find out who you can be, who you believe to be true about yourself. That answer is within you. And also, Kamal, you mentioned good enough with yourself. Whatever you believe that the skills about you, your character, your image, just go for what you believe to be true about yourself, because somebody else is battling their own battles. And I don't think they will be able to actually tell you that Nomsa, you could be this, Nomsa, you could be this. People, they will say their opinions, what they believe to be true about you, but everything is within. For me, I meditate. When I pray, one of the parents said to me, oh, Nomsa, your daughter seems to know exactly what she wants. And I said, you know what I do for her to do that? I pray. I meditate. I ask God to reveal secret about my daughter, who she could be. And I bring out her personality by praying. I don't do the talking, like giving advice to my children. I just pray. Honestly, if you find me sitting there with God, having a conversation with God, you'll be like, their father always said, Nomsa, can't you just pray normal, like normal people who close their eyes and they pray quietly? And I'm like, no. I have to have a relation. I have to speak. and ask God what my children could be. Show my children secrets about them, who they could be. And also show me a hidden secret about myself, who I could be. And that answer is within me. If that answer, I'm willing to receive that answer, I will be able to receive it. And I'll be able to actually manifest that that answer to come to reality. If you guys are gonna laugh when you see the content for Kongosi Talk Show. When I was writing it, I was like, oh my God, but it's the truth. So I just kept it as I've written three pages now. I've kept it as authentic, as exciting as possible, as unusual as well. So I just look at you guys, your bios, and I'm like, this one, she's this one, she's this. So I'm just this is what I'm gonna put. If they don't like it, they're just going to read it. They'll fall in love with it once they understand this is who they are based on what they do. So I've not changed anything or the words. I just put it exactly in a very exciting way. So, but that you have to look at yourself. This is who I am, and this is who I'm not. Myself, when I go to people, like if I meet people, I'm not interested to know about myself. I only talk about myself when somebody actually asks me questions, but otherwise I'm curious to know who is Kamal, who is Angie, because knowing about your beliefs, knowing about your work, I'm learning skills from that, and I'm learning people as an individual, that this is people, this is how people behave. This is Kamal's, this is who she is. She comes from multiple cultures, different cultures. So I'm interested in all that. And also I'm interested in who I could become. If somebody tells me that I'm not good enough, I just receive it. I go sleep on it. I don't get angry. If I feel that I don't have to hang around with that person, I move myself away. Not because I feel that I'm better than that person, is because I feel that I should be around people that will help me rise up, not to bring me down. I love to be around people that actually help me to become who I want to become. So what you guys are saying about our society, how is actually how we are all behaving the same way that like everybody else. And I'm glad that there are some people who are like, no, I'm not going to behave like that. I'm going to be this. For me, my father, when he raised me, he was like, Nomsa, you got to be you. We used to get up at 4 a.m. We'll have a chat. The things that I like, the things that I need to help with, we'll have a chat, and then we'll go to sleep. If I went to bed without my dad at home, if he comes home at 1 a.m., I'll wake up. I wouldn't go to sleep. That's how the connection that we had, and everybody else in the house, they all knew. And maybe some people were jealous. I don't know. But that's the relationship that I had. Even now with my mom, now I have my mom. I'm older, like I'm 44. I go and cuddle with my mom because she's my mom. We walk to town doing shopping. I'm holding my mom's hand because she's my parents. And everyone looks at me, don't say, you're no baby. I'm like, yes, I'm not a baby, but she's my mom. So I just do what I think is right for me. And if you believe that whatever your character or the business that you want to start or that promotion that you want to start, and you believe that you can do it, because at the end of the day is the things, what are you capable of? What are you willing to tolerate? So if you are willing to learn the skills and you're willing to actually business, it's a lonely world. If you're willing to make friends within the business, connect, make the right connection with people, you're good to go. And anyone else can say, you can't do it. No one knows. I don't know what Angie she's capable of. I don't know what Kamau she's he is capable of. Only him can show me by taking action, not me judging him. So we kind of want people to tell us who we could be, or how much, or they say, can come and say how beautiful Ngozi Talk Shows is, but it's not going to make no difference if we don't believe in what we do in life. Got to believe. So if anyone is watching, please believe in your destination. Believe that you are a woman who is beautiful, who is born unique. Believe that you are a man who is a king, who is handsome, who can grab any woman that they want. All is within you. Do you believe it, that you can actually date any woman that you want? Women want men with confidence. If you go and approach a woman out there, they want to talk. If you are confident, if you are a confident man, or if you are a confident woman, men want to date you. They will want to go out with you. If you are a woman who knows exactly what they want, not like you know what you want in a controlling way, very playful way. Let a man be a leader. Like we are in this generation where we don't allow men open doors for us. We are like, I'm independent. I went to university, honey, I've got degrees. I've got money, you know, I'm going to open my own door. So let a man, as a woman, step back. No matter how many degrees you have, let the man open doors. Let the man offer you a drink. When he offer you a drink, you offer him ice cream. It's 50-50. For me, I don't see any problem. But nowadays, people say, I can't find Mr. Right. I can't find Mrs. Right, because everybody's seeking validation. And there's this thing where I'm independent woman. I work, I have my own business, but sometimes I let my men take the lead. And I don't want anybody telling me that, no, Sapati, you have this, you have this. Why would you have to listen to men? Oh, yeah, I listen to men because I love naturally. So I don't have to change my character just because I have money or anything. I just have to be playful and just go crazy. I'm allowed to do that, Kamal, am I? So I think that's what we're missing in this world, that uniqueness, that playfulness, that connection, and that connecting with people, and just saying hello. I met this one of my clients, I think 2 weeks ago. She's gorgeous. And I was like, wow, why would a beautiful woman be single like you? And she was like, Nomsa, it's not easy to find a woman. I said, where are you from? And she was like, I'm from Africa. And I said to her, what do we do in Africa? We talk. Now no one wants to talk to anyone. When you see a man, he doesn't want to date you. He just wants to say hello. They say hello. You are like, is he on drugs or something? I was like, just smile, talk. When you see a woman, they just want to greet you. Now this generation, and they're like, oh, is he on drugs? Just talk. That's what matchmakers do. We actually find people's love just by going and see, oh, this is Kamal, and I'm just going to chat to Kamal. And then it starts with are you married, Kamal? And Kamal will start saying, no, I'm single. And I don't have the time to find a woman. And I'm like, okay, you're talking to a matchmaker. How can I help? Here's my card. When you make up your mind, call me. That's what we do. And that's the normal conversation, the traditional way. Over to you, Angie. And if anyone is watching right now, how can they find you? And tell our audience who you are as well. And please tell our audience to give us some stars as well on our page.
So audience, give us some stars. We need stars.
Yeah.
So hi, anybody that's watching. My name's Angie Simmons. I'm a single mum from a mining town called Mansfield, and I'm a personal development and mental wellness mentor. So I help people awaken their higher consciousness so they can make better choices by untangling their internal world so they can expand their external world. So You could find me on Facebook, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram under Growth Development Foundation. So that's me. And we need some stars. Come on, we need stars.
We need stars. We need stars.
Head on to Gossy Talk Show's page on Facebook and give us some stars. God loves people who bless others, and will be able to reach more people in our community. Kamal, over to you, please. Could you please tell our audience who you are and where they can find you?
Absolutely. So my name is Kamal Lema. You can find me on my website, kamallema.com. My other website is being rebuilt, so be patient with me, please. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook and on Instagram. You just type Kamal Lema and you'll see me. Very simple. What I am, who I am a psychologist. I am an NLP trainer, master practitioner, and I am a life purpose specialist. Now, this is what I do. I help people create a foundation to a fulfilling life based by uncovering their purpose in life through NLP and the aid of ancient Egyptian methodology. And by doing so, you have the tools and skills to live your purpose. That's about it.
Thank you so much, Kamal and Angie. Any words of encouragement, Angie, before we leave?
Yeah, do some stars quick before. Yeah, guys, seriously, if you find yourself seeking validation from other people, start working on you by getting the right coach, listening to the right information, reading the right information. Start getting on your own path of self-discovery and recovering. You'll be amazed how things change for you, and you'll stop seeking that validation.
And I'm going to support the words of Angie the same way that she says it. Push out of that comfort zone that you're in. You are too stuck within the herd. Break free from that herd pattern. Be different. And that different is you, is your uniqueness. By uncovering your truths, by uncovering your beliefs, by understanding, reading the right books and listening to the right people. Get yourself a coach, a psychologist even, and work on yourself to understand that you are enough for yourself. And the last word of encouragement, on your path to that, be kind to yourselves.
I love that, Kamal, and just get along with you. For me, is get along with you, and let women, let men open doors for you. Be a queen. Allow yourself to be a queen. It's like when a woman goes out, they meet a man, they come back, or a man meets a nice woman, they come back, they're so excited, and they come back and they're like, you know what? I don't know whether what I'm feeling is okay, but I've met this girl or I met this man. I feel connected, and then someone will say something, and then you start doubting your feelings, and that dream is crushed. And because you wanted somebody to say you're gonna be all right. So all I'm saying is just be you. Listen to that inner child within. Listen to that. I say the Holy Spirit. I got to speak my language. I can't speak anybody's language. So listen to there's Holy Spirit within you speaking to you, and be your own person. And know that even no matter what is going on in your life, know that everything is going to work out just fine, because you are going to be okay, because you are going to sort it out. And if you win something, or your company, or you do well at work, allow yourself to celebrate you, because it's worth it. You are worth it. You're unique. So that's all I can say to you. NOMSA cannot tell you who you could be, who you cannot be. But all I know is you can actually create your own destination and become the person you want to be. If NOMSA didn't make you, NOMSA cannot define you. That's all I leave you with. God bless and live with grace. Give us some stars at Ngozi Talk Show's page on Facebook, and we'll be able to reach more people in our community. Love you guys. Family, subscribe to our channel.